Gift receiving season is upon us, and yeah, you heard me right, gift receiving season. And you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I'm trying to get all of the things I plan on knitting for all of my friends and family in line. How can I possibly be focusing on the gifts that I will be receiving this year? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is really important to take some time and think about your all-time knitting wish list so that those in your life that love and care for you know exactly what sorts of things they can give you to help, as I like to say, bolster your craft. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you several gift options, and those are going to be aligned to 10 different types of gift recipients. So if that sounds like just what you need to hear right now, grab a cup of something cozy and let's dive in. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Wool Needles Hands Midweek Ramble. My name is Taylor, and I will be your host. It is the day before Thanksgiving here in the United States, and I'm thinking all about the gift-giving season that is upon us. And with that comes my own little wish list building that I'll share with my husband or my parents or something. And you start thinking about little things that you can ask for to make the gift giving a little easier for those who love and care about you. And it has me thinking about what sorts of things we knitters, and I'm focusing on knitters here today, but I really think that crocheters and fiber enthusiasts in general will really benefit from the information shared here. But I start to think about what is it that we knitters actually want? And it kind of has me going down the whole rabbit hole of all the different things we actually want to receive and all the different types of gift recipients there are out there. We're not all the same. We don't all receive gifts the same. And sometimes we have different expectations or at least different taste profiles. Now, please know that this video is of a somewhat selfish topic. We are talking about receiving gifts, things that we would want to receive for the holiday season. So if you're triggered by anything selfish like that around the holiday season, this may not be the video for you. However, if you have somebody in your life and you would like to send them something to watch so that they can get some ideas of things they could perchance get you for the holidays, this may be just the ticket. And I've also linked to some videos down below in the description box that provide some other ideas of really great gifts for knitters and fiber enthusiasts. A couple of things before we get started. I am not sponsored by any of the brands or products or anything that I share with you here today. However, some of the items I share with you here, if you purchase those items following the link that I provide to you in the description box, I receive a small commission from any purchase at no extra cost to you. It's a really great way to help support the channel here if it's something you plan on purchasing to begin with. And just to remind you, there is no additional cost to you. You'll be getting to support a small business, as all of these come from small independent businesses, while at the same time supporting the Wool Needles Hands channel. So in advance, I thank you for any of the purchases that you happen to make following any of the links that I provide down below. The next thing I want to mention is that at the end of this video, there's going to be information about a really special... I'm not going to say that word out loud because all the bot wolves will just descend and it'll become a mess in the comment section. So just so you know, if you stick around to the end of the video, we'll have one of these and I'll give you more information about how you can get involved with that and what exactly I'll be giving away. And I just want to let you know it's really very special. One last thing, the ideas that I've curated for this video today were not my own. I actually sought the help of the Patreon community and asked folks over there to give me some ideas of gifts that we actually want to receive for the holiday gift giving season. And there were lots of ideas and suggestions provided over there, and they're still coming in right now. So what I'm going to do is link to that thread down below in the description box. If you would like to join the Wool Needles Hands community on Patreon and help support the channel here, you can do that for as little as $3 a month. And that will give you access to additional video content, audio blog posts, and future live Q&As. However, if you would just like to join the Patreon community for the occasional photo post and little polls that I might ask the community, you can go ahead and join Patreon for free to have access to those things. And that will grant you access to this particular chat thread where we're talking all about gifts that we as knitter and fiber enthusiasts actually want this season. That is where I got a lot of the ideas that I'm going to share with you here, and I definitely suggest checking it out if you would like some more ideas or to participate in that conversation. Now we're going to start today with this first type of gift recipient, and this is the knitter or fiber enthusiast who has it all. The discerning knitter who's really hard to get gifts for because you know they probably have everything they need already. And with this particular type of gift recipient, one of the best things that you can do for them is provide them a gift card. A little cash that they can spend at a local yarn store or an online yarn store or for their favorite indie dyer that they can take their time and decide what it is they want in their own time. Gift cards are beautiful options for the discerning knitter or even the knitter that you think just happens to have everything already. You really can't go wrong. Now let's move on to the tech-savvy knitter. Somebody that you know that really likes to use their mobile device to help bolster their craft. A really great option is to provide them with a subscription to the pro version of Knitting Companion. Knitting Companion is an app that you can download onto your mobile device, and it keeps all of your patterns that you have on Ravelry in one place. And it also provides really smart tools for navigating those knitting patterns as you read them from your device. It's really just a great all-around tool to have on hand, even if they're not using it religiously. It's just a nice one to know that it's there. It's great for reading charts. It's very, in my opinion, kind of user-friendly. I use it all the time, unless of course there's a pattern I really prefer to have paper pencil if I'm taking lots of notes. But note-taking features are also a part of that. So if you do know a tech-savvy knitter and you want to provide them with a little something special, a really great idea is a subscription to the pro version of Knit Companion. And I believe it's $19.99 a year. That price may have changed at this point, but it's really well worth it. For that tech-savvy knitter in your life. If you happen to know a sock knitter or someone who's really into knitting socks, or if you yourself are a big-time sock knitter and you're looking to add some things to your wish list, one thing in particular that's always a great option for asking for or gifting to a sock knitter is really lovely self-striping yarn. There are so many fantastic self-striping yarn dyers on Etsy and elsewhere, and the yarn is so much fun to knit socks with. I can attest to that. I'm not a big time sock knitter, but when I do sit down to knit socks, I always love knitting them with a really fun and interesting self-striping yarn. You can have fun with the color choices here, or if you know a little bit about this particular knitter, you can choose color palettes and color ranges that you know is going to appeal to them. But sometimes there's nothing like a really luxurious skein of self-striping sock yarn to give to a discerning sock knitter. My particular favorite self-striping sock dyer is Nomadic Yarns. I will link to Ashley's Etsy shop down below in the description box, but any self-striping sock yarn dyer on Etsy is going to have some gorgeous self-striping sock yarns. There's lots out there to choose from, so definitely take your time and find just the right self-striping sock yarn for that sock knitter you know and love. For the kitschy knitter or the kitschy fiber enthusiast, you really can't go wrong with some lovely handmade stitch markers. We probably don't need any more stitch markers if we are a knitter who's been knitting for any length of time. However, they're just one of those things that you really can't get enough of, especially when they're handmade and beautiful. And there are so many lovely handmade stitch marker companies on Etsy. I will definitely link to some down below in the description box, but you really can't go wrong with handmade stitch markers when the knitter just likes to jazz it up and add a little bling to their knitting projects. Another great option to add to that is to get some really lovely shallow ceramic bowls that are hand painted and hand thrown so that they can put their stitch markers in them and leave them on the table near where they knit. I personally love having lots of little cute ceramic bowls kind of scattered around the house in various different places, like a little cache to keep my stitch markers because I always end up needing them. And it's a really great gift for somebody who likes that little kitschy touch and a place to keep those extra special stitch markers. For the monogamous knitter, that is a knitter who works on one project at a time, a really great option for them is a lovely African market basket. Now, I have a lot of things in here that are not, it goes far beyond a single project because I happen to not be a monogamous knitter, so I store all sorts of various different things in here. An African market basket, or it's also referred to as a market basket, is a great one for a monogamous knitter who works on one project at a time because it gives them a nice place to store the project they're working on in their living space or in their craft room where it's out in the open, but it's aesthetically appealing. They can put the project in here with whatever tools that they need. All of it's here. They have a handle if they need to transport it to a different part of the house. It's just a nice little aesthetic touch to provide to a knitter. And honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, of course, your mileage may vary, but knitters, crafters, fiber enthusiasts love baskets, you really can't go wrong. For the bookish knitter, or the knitter who you know loves to read, I have two options for you here, and one that I don't actually have in person. The first one is a book called Knitlandia by Clara Parks. Clara Parks shares her adventures, knitting, and meeting new people, and all of the stories that she curates through that experience. It says, in Knitlandia, Clara Parks takes us from Taos to Reykjavik and beyond, knitting together stories of unique characters and places and yarn. Parks is such an engaging guide into this world that by the end of the book, you want to grab her by the knitting needles and beg to join her on her next trip. So this is a great one if they love to read about people and their adventures and their journeys and they're a knitter. Another really great option for the fiction lover, and I love this book, I've read it a couple of times now, is a book called 3 Bags Full by Leonie Swan. This is such a fabulous read. If you are into reading fiction and you love a good murder mystery, this is such a cozy, enjoyable read about sheep that help solve the murder of their shepherd. And it's that when I say it like that, it kind of sounds silly, and I think it's supposed to, but there's so much nuance in this book that takes it from being something that could potentially be silly to something that's really quite profound and touching and interesting and mysterious. It's just really a surprisingly enjoyable book for what it is. It's very well written. The different sheep and all of their different personalities are lovable and intriguing. Honestly, you guys, it's one of my favorites. I'm going to read to you what it says on the back of this book. On a hillside near the cozy Irish village of Glenkill, the members of the flock gather around their shepherd George, whose body lies pinned to the ground with a spade. George has cared for the sheep, reading them a plethora of books every night. The daily exposure to literature has made them far savvier about the workings of the human mind than your average sheep. Led by Miss Maple, the smartest sheep in Glenkill and possibly the world, they set out to find George's killer. And there's more information here. You guys, it's such a fantastic book. If you know a knitter or a fiber enthusiast, or if you yourself are one of those and you love to read fiction, you need to have this in your library. It's such a great option. For the knitter who loves to drink coffee or tea while they knit, you honestly can't go wrong with a really special hand-thrown coffee mug that gives a little bit of a nod to knitting. Now, you really can't go wrong with a hand-thrown, handmade coffee mug for anyone, whether or not that it has, any references to knitting. But there are a few shops on Etsy who sell hand-thrown mugs that do feature fun little references to knitting. And I think that that is just a lovely idea for a gift for a knitter. Now, if you're anything like me, you really can't have enough coffee mugs. I collect them. I love them, especially those that are hand thrown or handmade. And something with a little nod to knitting or the craft is always really special. Definitely check out Etsy for some really gorgeous hand thrown coffee mugs for that coffee or tea drinking knitter that you know and love. Now, for the spatially aware knitter in your life, or if you happen to be spatially aware yourself, and either you find yourself limited on space or you really like to display your crafting supplies in a way that is organized yet aesthetic and out in the open, something you really can't go wrong with here are lovely baskets. I am crazy about baskets. I love this market basket. I have baskets everywhere. And I feel like there are so many knitters who try to find ways, creative ways to store their yarn out in the open, but in a way that's not cluttered or takes away from the environment. And baskets are such a great way to do that. In fact, I actually have a basket on legs. It's one of my favorites. I'll show you. This is my basket on legs. You guys, it's actually a plant holder. So you would put like a potted plant in this, and it's a plant holder, but it makes for a really fantastic project bag basket. And you could set it down in the corner out of the way, and it looks nice. It's visually appealing, but it's a great place to store your yarn or projects that you may otherwise not have room for. So for those knitters in your life, or you yourself, who are very spatially aware and try to keep their decor very aesthetic, and they don't want a lot of clutter, but they want things out and accessible, you really cannot go wrong with some lovely baskets. If you can find some really lovely hand-woven baskets on Etsy, that is a plus, and I've linked to some down below. However, you can find really lovely baskets at places like Target, on Amazon, or any local homeware shops. There's usually always lovely baskets available there. And what better way to store some of the other gifts you might be accumulating for this special person than a basket? So it can serve as double duty. It can be the gift basket and then the basket. For the gadget gathering knitter, the gadget guru, if you will, the knitter who just loves all the little gadgets that help simplify the craft, some really great options are a really nice high quality tape measure, perhaps considering the sock ruler, which is a really unique design of a ruler specifically for measuring the length of a sock, blocking mats for blocking out larger items like sweaters or shawls, try-on barber cords are all the rage right now. And if you really want to go the extra mile and you know they don't already have one, a Stanwood Needlecraft ball winder like the one that I show you here is a fantastic option for that knitter who just loves the good gadgets. Oh, and in addition to a ball winder, another really great option for the gadget gathering knitter is a nice scale where they can weigh their yarn to see how much yarn they have remaining after a project or how much yarn a particular project has used up. A scale is a nice thing to have on hand for any knitter or fiber enthusiast. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive, it just has to do the trick, and it would make for a very welcome gift. Last but not least, we have the bag happy knitter. Now, if you know anything about knitters, if you're a knitter yourself, you know that project bags are all the rage. Now, I've mentioned this before and you may know this about me, but I am a big fan of really nice, high quality handmade project bags. And I want to share a couple of these options with you here. However, project bags are available in a range of sizes and prices, and so you're sure to find something that not only meets your budget, but is definitely going to satisfy this bag happy knitter. The one that I want to share with you first is this one here. Now, if you watch the podcast, you may have seen this. This is called the Everyday Tote by Stony Lake Textiles. I will link to her Etsy shop down below in the description box. I absolutely love this project bag. It is very big. It can fit an entire sweater project plus the yarn, maybe not all of the yarn, but the yarn that you need at that time, all in here with additional pockets. There's a fantastic pocket on the front. There's several pockets inside. It comes in a variety of fabrics. It's stunning. So this is Stony Lake Textiles, and this would make for quite a luxurious gift for a very special bag happy knitter. Another luxurious option here would be this bag. This is a leather over the arm, I guess they call them an armlet, project bag from Jezebel B, and I love this. I received this about, I want to say about 8 months ago now. It is gorgeous. It is whole grain leather. It is handmade and hand stitched. The stitching is fabulous. I don't know if you can see that. It's just so beautiful. It has buttons on the top here so that you can unsnap it like this, set it down on the table. Your project will be inside just like this, and you can work out of the bag. It's honestly, you guys, I love this bag so much. If you watch the channel, you know that already. So these are a couple of options if you would like to kind of go big for this particular person, or if it's for you, if you want to add something really extra special. But both of these bag makers have less expensive options. Jezebel B has lots of options. There are the leather options, and then there are the waxed canvas options. There are notions bags and needle cases, and I will also link to a couple other project bag businesses from Etsy down below in the description box. But a really lovely project bag is a fantastic way to go for that bag happy knitter. I can't think of any knitter who wouldn't be absolutely pleased to receive a really lovely project bag as a gift for storing one of their beloved projects. So if you happen to know a bag happy knitter, or really any knitter for that matter, you can't go wrong with a really nice project bag. Now, this leads me to a very special part of this episode of the Midweek Ramble, and that is that I mentioned at the beginning of this episode. Emerence from Stony Lake Textiles. She is the one-woman show bag maker of the Everyday Project tote that you see here. She reached out to me, letting me know that since I initially mentioned this on the channel, so many amazing viewers have reached out to her making purchases of this particular bag in her shop, and she was so thrilled, and I am so thrilled to hear that she wanted to offer as a thank you to the Wool Needles Hands community of this particular bag, and I honestly am so excited about that. Now, I'm going to be hosting this over on Patreon, so if you want to participate in this and have a chance at receiving your very own Everyday Project tote by Stony Lake Textiles, I'm going to ask you to head over to Patreon. Now, if you would like to help support the channel here, you can become a member of the Patreon community for as little as $3 or as much as $7, and that will give you access to additional monthly content. However, if you just want to join the Patreon community and kind of decide down the road, you can become a free member of the Wool Needles Hands Patreon community. And that's all you have to do to participate in this. I will say, however, that those that are paying patrons will receive a double entry for the Stony Lakes Textiles Everyday Project Bag. So if you are going to be a free patron, I appreciate you and I thank you for taking the time to do that. You will be entered in to receive this project bag, not this particular one, but one very similar to this in a fabric of your choosing. And you will be getting in touch with Emerance to sort all of that out. But those of you that are paying patrons that help support the Wool Needles Hands channel, you will receive essentially a double draw to receive this particular project tote. Head over to Patreon. You can become a free member in the very least, or if you would like to help support the channel, you can become a financially supporting patron. I will leave a post over there with the instructions on what exactly to do once you get there, and that will be your opportunity to receive a version of this Stony Lakes Textiles Everyday Project Tote, and I'm so excited to be able to do that. So thank you so much to Emerance from Stony Lake Textiles for providing this. I'm always honored to be able to share small businesses here on the channel and to see that those businesses receive additional traffic from that. That is such a special thing to know and be aware of. And I thank you guys so much. Well, that is it for me today, guys. Like I said, tomorrow is Thanksgiving. I am going to get out of here after I edit this video and pop it up for you guys. And I'm going to make cranberry jelly and I'm going to get things ready for mashed potatoes tomorrow. I'm so excited. I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. The smells in the house, everybody being home. It's just so cozy and lovely. We're going to watch Harry Potter tomorrow and I'm just absolutely excited. I hope that if you are celebrating Thanksgiving here in the United States, or if you are somewhere else celebrating in another country, or whether you're celebrating or not, I hope that you are happy and well and enjoying yourself, finding some time to get your knitting done. I'm feeling my mojo creeping back, which is good news, and I really think that that's a lot to do with you guys and this fantastic community we have here. I am thankful for you. Until we meet again on Sunday's episode of the podcast, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye.